Yeah, 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 that's my song. It's called the Yeah, Yeah song. I sang it in my bathtub when I was younger. That's a lie, but that's okay. Hey, everybody, I made your day by doing a Toy Story rewatch with Coy and Winston. Yeah, I wrote that. I did. I spent around 7 hours coming up with the right words just to come up with that. Is that true? No. But I did fart into the microphone last week, one of the Big Thing episodes. I don't know if you picked up on that. Oh, my mom's proud that I do this show. All right, so let's get into. Oh wait, we're doing a Toy Story rewatch. Thanks, kids, for joining here. What the hell is this? Oh, I was wondering what that is. Nice to join you today, joining me on this rewatch. So we're doing a rewatch of Toy Story 3 and 4 in one episode. Why? Because we are getting to the Lightyear release this shoot today, man. Lightyear comes out today. So my review of the movie is already up on the channel. The full-on spoiler discussion will happen with myself, Winston, and Coy this Monday. So we figured we'll get into 3 and 4. Some people say that 3 is the best Toy Story of all time. And I might be one of those people. I don't know. We'll find out in a little bit. But I'm here with Winston. I'm here with Coy. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. The link is in the description. It is very, very important that you guys do that. It helps us out tremendously. So make sure you do that. And if you haven't already, subscribe. You see that graphic that I have right there? That says subscribe. It also means that I deleted it. Perfect. Welcome to the show. Try to clean up your desktop and you delete the stuff in the OBS. Nice job, because I didn't want to hear it from Coy and hear it from Winston. You have a messy desktop. Well, shut up. It's clean, and now I don't have my graphics. Welcome back.
It's our fault, Winston.
It is.
You hear that?
Always your fault.
Real quick before we dive into this, someone just sent me a tweet where somebody put on Twitter, "Show me proof Bernie Mac was actually funny." And I'm like ready to fight somebody.
Yeah,
That's fair.
That has nothing to do with Toy Story, but I just
Bernie Mac was great.
It was so funny.
Hilarious.
Legend. All right, we're talking about Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. So we could jump around, as we happen in the conversation, but we'll obviously start with 2 and with 3. Now, 3 was a very interesting way to turn it and change it, because
10 years later.
Well, it's also the end of our run with Andy. It's moving into this new phase. Ultimately, I think 3 ends with the Bonnie character, and but like, there's a lot of emotion. Did you guys think that we'll get right into it? Did you guys think that any of the toys were going to eat it when you saw it?
Oh, 100%.
Did you?
I really thought that Pixar, because they've given us, at this point, 15 years of trauma, that they might end the arc of their Toy Story starting Pixar with ending it with, like, your childhood's over, they're dead. Like, I thought maybe.
You thought they were going to go that deep with it, huh?
You remember, Bo's gone at the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Bo Peep is gone.
Yeah.
Obviously, we'll talk about 4, that she comes back and we get to see how that happened.
But, like, I thought it was a possibility.
I genuinely was sitting in the theater watching them go towards that fiery death, and I was like, this is it.
I think it's one of the best third acts in cinema. I think that scene with the fiery death is amongst the most emotional I've been.
I just don't love that whatever his name, Lotso.
Yeah.
I don't think he got enough of a punishment.
No.
Like everybody else, bro.
No.
I think he deserved way worse than what he got.
Yeah, getting strapped to the truck was like, come on. Like, he survived. And, like, he was pure evil. He literally left them to die.
It's interesting to see that, all good, because I moved the chair. Yeah. It's interesting to see as well that talk about evil being created. He genuinely was very, very, like, chill, but got so broken by seeing him just be very quickly replaced by another version of himself.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like they said, if I can't have her, nobody's having her. If I can't be the one that nobody's getting, like, he genuinely was warped hardcore, which I thought was a really interesting way for them to dive into that.
And to keep him somewhat sympathetic. Somewhat. Like, to have the awareness that it could happen to any toy.
I appreciate the fact that they didn't then repeat that in the 4th one.
Yeah.
Right? When you get to when you get to what's her name? Betty or Boopty Boop or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
That she isn't the same as Lotso, that she genuinely, once you give her the opportunity to be loved, things change.
Because I was afraid that Lotso was going to be too similar to Stinky Pete, and then I was afraid that she was going to be too. And like they managed to have an interesting, different villainy arc, and that's why I said it with Toy Story 2. I think this is maybe the best quadrilogy of any.
It's pretty good, and I like the idea of what they did with Lotso also, where he was still, because they kind of combined what happened to Jesse to him also, but the difference, as you were saying, Coy, last week, with how we thought Jesse was going to be the bad one, it then turned into you thought that was going to happen with Lotso,
right?
But it did.
Yeah. And then we had the other bait and switch of now we're assuming this evil doll because of our preconceived notions of dolls being creepy. Right. Like dolls are scared. Just like teddy bears are snuggly, we don't think it's bad. Dolls are creepy, we think it is bad and it's good. It was a really clever way to like manipulate our own prior judgments.
Yeah. No, for sure. It was one of those situations where watching this, we were talking about if this is all within like the Woody, I mean, it's all the toys, but if it's within the Woody arc, then this is that point where it's like he's fighting it. No, y'all, we're gonna be good. Like we're gonna do the college thing, whatever. It's like no, you're going into retirement, and so it's Woody pushing, because remember, all the rest of them stay in the daycare.
Right.
Yeah.
Woody goes, no, screw this. We need to get back to Andy.
Right.
Andy wasn't throwing you out. Stop it.
Yeah.
And not letting go.
Right. And I have so much sentimentality towards toys. I was always a sentimental kid. I still have so many knickknacks. Yeah, I still have stuff. And I have my first Spider-Man doll still. Like I to this day keep things. So it was really interesting to see what sentimentality meant to this universe, because they're the literal toys that are coming from it. And like the whole attic metaphor for like being past your time really hits now that I'm like, it's harder to get to the gym every day. Like things like that are hitting you as you rewatch these movies at a different stage in your own life. It's scary.
It was a lot of metaphor for, do you leave Grandpa just at his own house to up to his own devices, or do you send him off to daycare, which is essentially almost like a retirement home,
right?
You know,
and there's also a prison in this case too, as well. Like what it's like to be trapped in a place with things that are like manipulating and all those things.
So here's my question: since we sort of get two new versions of Buzz in 3 and 4.
Yep.
In 3 we get Spanish Buzz,
delightful
/ prison ward Buzz,
which is great. Yeah.
And in 4 we get inner voice Buzz, which I thought was a very funny thing that he's listening to his own pre-recorded messages
and like tapping through to find the one he wants to hear. It's like when you keep shaking the 8 ball, and you're like, I gotta get the.
But that's what they do, though. They stay clever without it. Like, as we mentioned, like each time to be able to, and that's why people are so scared about I think Winston, you were one of the people that were like, why are they doing a 4th when the 3rd is so?
Yeah.
You don't want to basically do what Jason Bourne did. You don't want to do what Rocky did with Rocky 5. You don't want it to be part of it, especially when you said 3 is the first 3 are like near perfect, right?
Yeah.
And the 4th one, I think if you say that, there's very few people that wouldn't say that the first 3 Toy Story movies are great movies. Great. Mm-hmm. I think that I think it's very fair to say that Toy Story 4 is a very good movie.
I agree.
I would say that the first 3 are all A's in my mind. Even
A+?
Toy Story 3, yeah. I would say that they're all super high 90s as far as that rating, if not 100. I give Toy Story 3 probably 100. 4 is still very good, but it's like a B+ for me, to be honest with you.
I go A+ 1 and 3, A2 personally, and A- for 4.
Yeah,
like they're still all A's. It's just like, they can't all be hundreds.
But let's do what we did for the other movie here, like the cat. Because now the difference is what we talked about last week. Toy Story 3 comes out in like 2010.
Yep.
So it's like 10 years later.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now the landscape of animation and Pixar are completely shaped.
Can we talk about how gorgeous this movie opens with the second one had the Buzz sequence in the video game. The third one has a Western sequence on the train.
Which was so cool.
That is gorgeous.
But then it's like coupled with like Bond.
Yeah.
And like all that. It's like, well, I brought my force field dog. And it's like, well, oh no, Dr. Ham's ship. Like
the imagination, like I love what it's like when you were a kid. It reminds me of when I was playing as a kid. Like we don't do that. I don't play enough.
So Tom Hanks returns, Tim Allen returns, Joan Cusack, the late great Ned Beatty, who we just lost, I think this year.
Oh wow!
I think it was this year that we lost him. Was that, or at least last year?
Last year,
yeah.
Last June.
Wow. He was great.
Oh, he was so good in Rango. I forgot.
Otis. This is my favorite. So you have Don Rickles, Mr. Potato Head. Don Rickles? He's got to be gone
it's been
too, right?
12 years since this movie. Holy shit!
Yeah,
There's no
it's
way
been
Don
12
Rickles
years,
is
dude.
still
No, he's gone since 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Funny story about Don Rickles. I knew Don Rickles was gone because I had a meeting with Gary Busey twice.
As you do.
I had a meeting with him on a rooftop twice. And one of the times when we were talking about guests for his potential podcast we were going to do, and he said, I want to get Don Rickles on the show. Make sure we get him. And he's going through and he's talking about it. In my head, I'm like, I'm pretty sure Don Rickles is gone. Right? And then he goes, George Carlin, is he a possibility? I go, George is gone. I said, and so's Don Rickles. He goes, is George Carlin still with us? And I said, no, he's not. And I said, and honestly, Don Rickles is gone too. He's like, all right, we'll cross him off then.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
Solid Busey, by the way. Solid Busey.
Thank you, Coy. I believe that if I was in Toy Story, I would be a woodchuck. Not a woodchuck, just a friend named Woodchuck. I would be a 7-foot robot who shot cucumbers out the left side of my turnacles, which are the other side of my eye lobes. What is an eye lobe? You figure it out and get back to the Lord Jesus Christ.
I'm
still
I'm living the fear of just knowing the Busey. Like that was I don't think I'd go on a roof with him. I'd be afraid he'd toss me. So I'd be afraid Busey would end me.
What he would say in a sense, you should not be afraid. You should approach your life however you're going to approach it. Don't be afraid. Afraid is for people who are going to not take what they need. Toss is what you said. Toss. Terror. Averting. Salad. Somebody. It's like, what? That is a Buseyism. What does that mean? Tossing, going on the other side, making sure. And he goes through, he breaks down words, Buseyisms.
I need to have Busey on this show. We need him
do
as
not
a
need that. We do not.
But-
in theory, it's fantastic.
But back to the casting. You added Michael Keaton as Ken, which is dope.
Michael Keaton as Ken was great in this movie.
And then Blake Clark as a replacement for Ernest. For Slick
yeah.
Dog.
Oh yeah, and how is he? And he does pretty well in it too.
He
That's
does.
like Wallace Shawn as Rex, of course from Princess Bride. John Ratzenberger as Magus Ham. We have Jodie Benson, of course, Ariel from Little Mermaid as Barbie. There's a lot of good people in there too.
Directed by Lee Unkrich this time.
Who was it directed by this?
Lee Unkrich.
Oh yes, and who we just talked about.
Oh, because he was one of the directors in 2.
I see. So he took
and then
over.
He took over for 3.
What did he direct? Now he direct. Oh, did he direct?
He was.
Well, he was an editor for 2.
Let's see
Interesting.
what he directed on.
I think he did. Did he direct Coco? I don't remember now.
He directed Coco.
Yeah, that's right.
He directed Masters of Fury, which is I guess upcoming. Dante's Lunch, Toy Story 3, Finding Nemo. He co-directed. Monsters Inc. He co-directed. Toy Story 2. He co-corrected. Co-corrected.
He failed.
He failed. Dominion. So this is.
We're dropping all sorts of Easter eggs for the past and future.
Past and the future. Past and the future. So that's it.
The multiverse of reviews. I think 3 is a no notes film, and I don't feel that often. I feel like 3.
It's perfect.
It's so special. It's so good at using the 10-year gap. It's one of those legacy sequels that doesn't even feel like a legacy sequel because it's like right back in stride, but we've aged. Like we feel for Andy in a different way. When he goes, the scene where he hands his toys off and like not only were we just crying about the like incinerator, now we're crying because he's playing again, and those toys just wanted one last time playing with Andy, and you feel how much they love that.
Well, that's the beauty of it being 10 years removed from this, or 11 years removed from the second one, right?
Yeah.
And like 15 years removed from the first one.
Yeah.
So you have, as kids, grown up with him and these toys.
Yeah.
So you can relate to it in real time.
I literally, I'm 11, 12.
Why do you hate that microphone so much?
I'd move the chair because you had the sweatshirt. Fine, I'm here. I'm right here, motherfucker. I didn't say it.
I heard it.
I almost did. I come with something.
He needs some milk.
Yeah.
I like that you like Walmarted yourself. You like Walmart censored.
Every time you curse.
Do me a favor, please.
Get out of here.
Get out of here, man. Shit.
It's the way he curls it. Get out of here.
Well, also, for not wanting the S
He
word.
curses.
Yeah.
Well, he does it. It's okay that he does it.
Okay. Well, the kids don't mind if it's a pre-recorded thing.
That's true. That's science.
But again, we talked about this with 1. Remember 2, Coy, me and you are around the age of like 11, 12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? By the time this is over, for me, I'm at the end of college. This is senior year of college when this drops.
And he's going to college.
And he's like going. And so not being that far removed from what that life was like, leaving high school to go to college and all that, and I know that feeling, and I'm about to step into an even different adult journey.
Yeah.
It hits in such a different way.
I had moved out here like 8 months earlier. So I had the thing of like,
When this came out?
yeah.
Okay.
So I had just uprooted my life. I had just left my toys behind. So it was different for me because I only went to college for 1 year.
Okay.
And then I was like, I don't think what I'm going to do, like I support college and education, but I didn't think a piece of paper would change anything. So I came out here and I was like, I'll take acting class and use that money towards those things, which turned into like what I do now. But it was the same. I'm in a new chapter, and the chapter that I left is so geographically different, and it's so separate, and it's so alien and so other. Because your first year in LA is crazy. Like your first year in LA is like, am I an adult? Like, am I like, what have I done?
Right.
And Toy Story 3 is definitely being like new frontiers in every way. It even opens with a frontier, a Western frontier. So this movie, I think, just like the whole arc, top to bottom, it's what trilogy should be. It's its own movie. You can watch just Toy Story 3, but it also beautifully summarizes a lot of themes from the first ones. It's like a good 9-act structure. It's like a third act in each movie and then the beautiful 9.
Well, I remember because it won.
It was nominated for Best Picture?
Yes, it was.
Wow.
That was the year that they opened it up and you had a bajillion.
10, I think.
Like you finally did the full 10.
Yeah.
And so it
'Cause
lost out,
08 Dark Knight.
it lost out the King's Speech, right?
Yeah.
Was it the last one? Was it the last animated film to be nominated for Best Picture?
Knowledge.
That was 11 years ago.
To my knowledge, because like they had the best animated feature category had been there for a minute, but it was good enough the same way that you had like Parasite be nominated for Best Foreign Film and Best Picture, that it
And
busted
Spider-Verse
through.
Spider-Verse should have been up for Best Picture as well as
I agree.
Yeah,
Because what year was Spider-Verse?
2018, I think. And it got Best Animated, but it should have been up for Best Picture.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do. I will say this, and we'll talk about it more so on Monday. There was a lot of talk about Lightyear being nominated for Best Picture, like overall. No, it's a great movie, but it's not gonna
Best animated for sure, but not Best Picture.
It might win Best Animated for sure, but not not Best Picture.
It's also been such a crazy year.
Well,
Yeah.
it depends, because do we still have a Spider-Verse film coming out?
No,
Yes,
they moved
next
it
year,
to next
they
year.
They moved them all to next year. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
then Lightyear right now looks like it might be the front runner, because I'm
Yeah,
trying to think.
I mean, Minions is coming out. We haven't seen that yet.
Turning Red was really good. You dropped.
That's
But Encanto was last year. So
Oh
that just
no!
won.
Encanto was the
just
beginning.
won.
Oh, was it
Encanto
last year?
just-
That's
Encanto just won.
right. Encanto would have won obviously again, but
So that's we talked
we don't
about.
know yet. There's more stuff we got to figure out, but
And I don't think 4 is I think it needs. So what I like is that if 3 is this beautiful arc, 4 is like a denouement. Like it's like the epilogue. It's like the conclusion, because we've had the ending be like, okay, now they've changed toys. I like that we get to experience what it's like under a new child, like to have that. And I love that 4 kept talking about like, I've got a kid, and we are now as adults. Some of us have kids, so that terminology you hear, like I have a kid, that makes your heartstrings sing different. And like,
you know what I was thinking, and it's sad that I'm connecting Toy Story 4 to Dominion.
Oh,
but
no.
the whole idea of Lord Dermy, my kids are grown now.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
It's the same thing where it's like, well, my main kid is all grown. I kind of have this new one, but like it reminds me honestly of my mom. We talk about how she's like in like the 4th quarter of her life and all that kind of stuff, and so she's trying to find like the new love of her life type situation. You get that same feeling from Woody, where he's like old man Woody, like, he's still in the game, but he's obviously not getting the respect that he feels like he deserves, because you got that selfishness, that ego again.
Yeah.
So then when the love of his life is like reappeared, he's really making the debate, okay, do I go back to this job and this kid that they're
Right.
cool?
Well,
but
that
I'm
choose
good?
me.
And I also like from, I guess, 3 and 4, with is bringing in like the thespians and bringing in like the
oh, there's so many great supporting characters.
The mailman fits me better.
Yeah.
So like all that stuff like plays in very well too, and
Duke Kaboom,
Yeah,
the
Duke Kaboom.
greatest
Yeah.
new character.
Ducky and Buddy for me. Man.
Yeah.
You're not a Forky guy.
I love Forky, but I think Forky is like
Yeah, they tried pushing Forky
Yeah,
too
they
much.
tried. I like that he's an existential crisis as a character, because that's what I am.
Yeah.
But I think Kaboom is such a scene stealer.
I don't know if it was you or if it was somebody else, but the fact that someone pulled a fast one over at Disney to sell children's sporks.
Genius.
And they made billions off of Forky,
It's
bro.
incredible.
Oh,
I
my
love
God.
the idea of like the 4th one asking what makes a toy. It's love. Like once you're loved by something,
Yeah.
you activate. I love the
I
idea
love how
of Forky,
scared
like,
he is. Yeah, he's scared too.
because he identifies with trash.
Because like everybody thinks that like you're just gonna be, like, accept it right away. He's like, yeah, I'm bailing because he's he's not all there.
But I also like the idea that like where you think you belong is where you seek. So like I grew up poor. So I it took me until recently to feel even comfortable when I have some money buying nice clothes and I need them. Like I need those things, but I'm like, Why would I buy something nice? Because I'm so used to being poor. So I identify with Forky like crazy because, one, he doesn't trust himself. He doesn't know who he is. He's always trying to figure out what he wants, like me. And then also, like, he thinks he's trash, and it's hard for you as a human being to go, like, I'm not garbage. I'm worth more than this. And I think that kids need to learn that as soon as possible. I think it's very important to find self-worth at a young age so that way we can go through things. Belonging is the thing that Toy Story is about, and I love that they have a character that doesn't know what he is.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I think 4 is great.
No, 4. I really enjoy it. The only thing I will say is it almost felt a little over animated. I know that sounds weird, but having watched the progression of all 4 in like 2 days' time,
right?
You have 1. It's the very beginning. I get it. You just developed the technology. 4, for some reason, felt so polished and like it was almost too much for me.
Too photorealistic.
What I did, they also changed, as we said in every one. They always evolve one of the characters, if not multiple characters, right? And in this one, Bo Peep was completely changed to where she was kind of on her own now, doing her own thing, strong, kind of independent, but still her and Woody still have this like strong bond. And going into that shop and how like creepy that whole shop is, and that was a little bit of horror.
Is creepy.
It's creepy.
Yeah, the ventriloquist dolls, because we're all scared of those anyway.
Oh, dude, those things rub me the wrong way. But again, I love that she was that villain because it was like I came out defective, and I thought that there was such a beautiful conversation about unrequited love, about like what you think you deserve.
Exactly. So, that's Forky the other way.
So exactly. So she is, I came out defective, but I'm obsessed with this child. And the child picks up, and her whole world shatters.
Yeah.
And Woody's like, fam, like that's the thing. Plenty of fish in the sea, like come on. And then has that moment where that child is lost and alone, and she gives that child the courage to like find her parents.
And her villain arc is the same as Woody's choosing herself arc. Like she needs to be confident in herself enough to have a new child. Woody needs to be confident in himself not to have a child at all. And I love that when villain and hero arcs can parallel like that, it's Daredevil Kingpin. And I think that Toy Story 4, of all the villains, captures that the most. He literally gives away his voice to the villain, and it doesn't work. And he has to let go, and she has to let go. It's beautiful. It's such a good arc.
Don't give away your voice. Get Athletic Greens. Make sure.
Top three.
So make sure you do it, because Athletic Greens, as I was telling you guys many times over, we're so excited that they're back. We love Athletic Greens. And Coy and I were talking about it just in the break here of all the things that they do and the energy. And Winston was telling me how he took some of it, loved the way it made him feel afterwards too, and you guys will too. I just started taking, I think in like March. My energy's better. Overall, it's just really fantastic. And I have been using it every day. And I started taking it because same thing. I was not a big vitamins person. People were telling me you could do all the energy and all the vitamins all in one, because you want better gut health, you want more energy, you want to optimize immune system. Well, there you go. This is it. This is what you got to do. And what is it? Well, you take one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, and you're taking 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics. You put it all in one. You start your day off right, you get into it. And so I do it because I want the energy. I do it because it helps me out. When I was walking around Star Wars Celebration, I put it in a water bottle, shake it up, boom. Was ready to shoot the videos, had a good time, was ready to go. Friends and family, been sending it to them. It's awesome. It supports mental clarity and alertness. It supports better sleep quality and recovery. It costs you less than $3 a day, and you're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than your cold brew habit. You're investing in an all-in-one nutritional insurance. Athletic Greens has over 7,000 five-star reviews. It's recommended by professional athletes, and it is time to reclaim your health. Arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition. It's just one scoop and a cup of water every day. Like I told you, I put it in a water bottle and I shake it up, and that's all I do. There's no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. So to make it easy for you, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. You got to go to athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/bigthing. Link in the description. And take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I'll keep telling you that not only are you going to help yourself out by getting Athletic Greens, you support the show. You support this show, and you let us know after you do what you think, how you like it, and it helps us get great sponsors like Athletic Greens. So thank you guys so much. All right, moving back into Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4.
We always talk about the openings, right? So Toy Story 3 had that great Western opening. I love that 4 was so grounded and dark, like it was rescuing RC.
Hell.
I loved that because the movie's dark.
Because I was wondering, because we haven't seen RC since the first, right?
Yeah. And I love RC.
Yeah, I love RC too. So the fact you're rescuing RC, which did you notice? Was that RC's body that made up the skunk? Did she take RC apart to make her like vehicle,
No,
bro?
I didn't notice.
Because I noticed the chassis was exactly the same, like where the wheels and
I hope it was another RC, not our RC.
I hope so.
Because we just saved our. I don't know if the timing works. I hope that our RC is safe.
Not sure.
That skunk thing's genius too. That's great.
It was pretty smart. But yeah, no, I mean that opening was beautiful. It was very sad.
Yeah.
Like and even to the point that, like, talk about playing your role. You see Woody watching her drive off, just devastated. And the minute he senses Andy coming, he goes from like instantaneously, even though he's clearly. The rain is almost like covering the tears that he would have shed as a toy.
Yeah. And like all of that is such a beautiful humanization of these objects. At the end of the day, Toy Story is us projecting our emotions onto these things. And I think of any of them, like 4 is not my favorite of them, but I think of any of them, it captures depression and sadness well, even though they all deal with it. There's just so much darkness that isn't heavy-handed. Like depression is real, and navigating it is so important.
And
so
I like that
I think
repeat,
4 is needed.
I do, and I don't think it repeat this is what this whole franchise does. Even though there's familiar beats, it doesn't necessarily repeat beats, right? Like everything for me is always Star Wars, and at this point where I think episode 5 of Obi-Wan will probably have aired by this point. So episode 4, one of my main issues was it's just basically a complete just retelling of episode 4, New Hope.
I think I'm going to wait until episode 5 drops and watch 4 and 5 back to back.
If 5 is good, it's probably a good move.
Because you've mentioned, like, that it's not and I've enjoyed it so much
and then
that I think I'd rather, you know what I mean?
And hopefully 5, I mean, there's only 2 left. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because it feels like it needed to rely on, familiar stuff, and we've done this before, as opposed to take familiar things, but make them new. And I think Toy Story 1 through 4 does that. Like, there's a lot of familiar things, tones, things, but the beats themselves are different. It's not just a rehashed story, and it's not the same thing we've seen a million times.
But I think that's what good content is, and not just within your own franchise, but just in general. I mean, I think about how, if you're just talking TV shows, Superstore kind of rips off of The Office and Parks and Rec, and those kind of rip off of 30 Rock, and like all of that will kind of pull from something else. It's just, what are you gonna do? You also have the same ingredients. What are you gonna do to make your own masterpiece? Right. And I think that I agree with you. I think they did that very well with each of these films. We're giving you the same ingredients. What are you going to do with it?
Yeah. And I do think, we talk about Woody as kind of our lead, but we have multiple Buzzes in the last 2 films, and both of them work in both of them. I do love Prison Warden and Spanish Buzz in addition to our Buzz.
Dude. And the fact that Spanish Buzz is jealous of Woody about Jesse, so it's also at his core that he thinks Jesse is hot.
Right.
And so it's like, whether he's Spanish or regular Buzz, he's like, you know what I mean?
Well, what do you guys think of the overall ending of Toy Story 4 and essentially the ending of the franchise, maybe? Because Lightyear doesn't really count as far as Toy Story goes. People go, "Oh, Lightyear is a completely different movie."
Come watch next week with our spoiler review.
Yeah, Monday.
Monday.
Yeah.
I think that it ends in a way that they could do more, but I do kind of like the idea of, like, once you go off to be an adult, like Woody has gone off to live his own life. Yeah. This is a story that's a long form 4-arc story about being an adult, like about childhood ending. And like, it's like he got married and bought a house. Like he's on that journey now. So I kind of like it, because I don't know that I'd want them to reconnect, because then we sacrifice that for Woody. And I don't know if I want a Toy Story movie that's Lightyear without Woody. So I kind of like that it ends with, this is what adulthood is,
even to the point, if you think about it, this is kind of a stretch, but not fully. He obviously sacrificed the voice box so the main villain girl can go be loved, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, almost in the sense that his voice box is what makes him a toy.
Right.
He essentially got a vasectomy, so he's no longer with kids anymore. He's literally gone off with his wife in his old age to go travel. Remember, it's like a lot of old people were like, we bought a camper and now we're going to travel the world. They're now a part of the carnival, and they travel the world with the carnival to just do whatever they want.
It's hilarious. I actually met some people in a CVS, it was with my wife, older people who bought a camper and just went.
That's a life, man. They love it.
It's true. Yeah, they really did. They were trying to sell us on it. I'm like, we got another.
We got a little
years.
bit going there. Thanks for rushing us, though.
Thank
I appreciate you assuming our age there in this.
Well, they weren't even assuming the age. They were just saying you should do it. I think they would have told 15-year-olds to do it. But either way, this is. I think that, like I said, it was going to be a shorter episode today. I think that we, for 3 and 4, as we get excited for what it did. I mean, the third one, I remember when that came out, people were still very curious about whether, because it was enough time that people wanted to see one, but they were curious, could it be as good as the other two? And then there was such conversation about how it was probably better.
I just remembered my favorite part of 3. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I love that in the first movie, they set up the importance of the claw, and after 3 movies, the movie ends with the payoff. That is a long game. That's a 15-year payoff, and the aliens are my favorite character. So the fact that the aliens, they go from being the annoying characters to the reluctant children to the saviors is also its own beautiful arc through the claw.
Dude, they became their own god.
Yes!
Like,
they self-actualize, dude. They self-actualize.
Yo, it sounds like there's a lot of self-actualization we need to be doing, man.
I mean, there's a lot going on in this. And the third movie has So in the third movie, supporting characters self-actualize, and the fourth movie, our lead self-actualize. It's genius writing. The claw moment is amongst my favorite cinematic trilogy moments, though.
It was good. There's a lot of great moments. I think that you can take so many of them, but I think what we should do, similar to what we did with the Jurassic series, we should now rank.
Oh yeah,
the Toy Story movies. So should we do the same thing with the pictures?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Right,
so we're not doing it with Lightyear. We're excluding. We're not going to do.
I think it really is such a spin-off.
It's just such a different movie.
It's its own beast. If you want to, maybe on Monday we can.
Yeah,
but
we can say where it fits into it. But I mean, as 4 different with these characters and this, it's because that Lightyear isn't even the Lightyear that we know.
Right. So it's different enough.
It's different.
Okay.
It's different. It's just a spin-off. But go ahead, Winston. Buy us some time.
Yeah, of course. So all right. So we have with 3. I think the big thing we talked about, what was the moment other than the fire pit that I guess really got to you one way or the other, Coy?
I got to say that in 3, I really enjoyed that the toys didn't do the same level of committing to the bit. I felt like they were maturing, all of them. They're trapped in this situation, but there's less of that oh no, last second. There's a more of a sense of self. So I really like that in the prison they're all kind of forming who they want to be on and off air, so to speak. And then obviously how that lands and the bond, the friendship is insane.
Well, one of the other things that I love about the films is that they all kind of do also fall into their own genre. So the second one we were talking about kind of the road trip type situation of we got to go save our buddy. It gives you very hangover vibes, road trip vibes, all that. But then with this one, it was a prison break movie,
right? And
so then buying into that and whatnot, I thought I just love that they were able to pull that off. And I would say that the other part for me, the emotional part, would be the fire pit. And obviously, like you mentioned, Andy playing with Bonnie. But I think the other thing that really got me, that I was just dying laughing because I was obsessed with the new guy. With DJ Qualls, is Ken doing his showing all his outfits for Barbie to freak out, dude, that stuff killed me.
Dude, I think 3 it's one of the fun, it's funny as hell. There's a lot of laugh out loud in 3.
Yeah, there is.
And Lightyear's acrobatics in the prison escape is a moment too, because you get that call back to the first one. It's great.
All right, so we're gonna do. So there's this is 4. So 4 is right up here. We got 4. We got number 2.
I think it's an accident, but I really enjoy that De Mignon is cameoing because you got the French Toy Story 4 poster.
It actually wasn't an accident. When I pulled it at first, I saw that it was, and then I said, I'm just gonna leave it.
De Mignon.
Yeah, De Mignon. All right, and that's number 3, and then we obviously have 1. Now this is not.
This is harder than Jurassic.
Jurassic was harder.
Very hard. And honestly, any answers I'm not upset about.
No, there's not. I think that it's I think that everybody, and this is what I asked the audience to do inside of this one, is I want to get your rankings for your comments. It's always that the most comments we ever get is when we finish these series. That people always give their rankings. So make sure you give your rankings in the comment section. And obviously, look at this, guys. Boom, it's back.
Oh, he did it.
So
found his way.
And click like and do all that. But all right.
Well, you just made my order, so
Is that your order? Is that
1,
okay.
3, 2, and 4 is my order. I think the first one is, I don't know what's nostalgia and what's, it being the first of its kind, but the first one for me, I think about it often. It shaped me. I was 7. It's so important. 3 really showed me that you can have a sequel that is as good as the first. I'd consider both of those A+. So it's like, that's really just a matter of they're both 100. It's just one was... It was the exact right age.
Right, so
and then 2 is amazing, but it's more like a 95. And then I would say Toy Story 4 is like a 91.
I'm going to guess Winston's. So this is Koi's. So I was going to guess Winston's. I would go. Am I right? No.
Actually, it is going to be, and this is rough because I just rewatched 4 this morning. I think it's got to be 3, 2.
All right, so 3 for Winston, 2.
This is going to be controversial, but 4-1.
Whoa! Yeah, this one.
And I love me some 1. I've seen it a million times, but
You just work for you.
I think
Which is funny coming from somebody who didn't want a 4th one.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because when I saw it for the first time in theaters, I was like, it was fine. They did a good job. It was fine. The reason I'm going this route is only because 4 means more to me now at the age that I'm at watching it, that it affected me a little bit differently than when I was watching
movie.
it. Yeah.
All right.
I also, can we say that's a testament to sequels? Holy shit. You gave the first its last.
Holy
Like
S.
that doesn't,
Holy S.
that doesn't happen much.
And it's not even that. The thing is, let me reiterate, just because it's my last does not mean that it is the worst of it. Like it is
It's hard. Yeah, there is no worst one.
at all.
But that's incredible. We can have sequels be
Like Fallen Kingdom is the worst one.
that's just comfortably.
This is a very narrow margin that I rank it.
Yeah,
that way.
Batman and Robin, we all agreed. Like we've never had, actually this is the first like mix up we've seen that level of in all of our rewatches.
I'm not done yet. So for me, I'm gonna stick with 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna move.
Wow, all of our orders are so different.
Yeah, and it's like, but again, it's the same thing. And I happen to really like 4.
Yeah.
I just think that out of everything that I've seen so far, and very similar to what Winston just said, 1 is just a very special movie. Like to all of us, it is, but to 1 was just, it gives me the feels, you know. What I mean? And 3 is just an overall.
To me, yeah.
And that's why it's number 1 for me. Because 3 is everything that 1 probably could be with a bigger budget. And 1 just started it all off, and 3 just used everything that 1 was able to get them. And look, 2 is just as good. Anybody that puts these 3, 1, 2, or 3 in this like different order, it's going to be like when we rank the Rockies. That's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard, especially the director's cut.
I got issues with the new Rocky.
I haven't seen it.
No. Of course, no one's seen the new Creed. But
I'm in the director's cut.
No. I got issues with so. Now, take this for what it is. I know this is a Toy Story rewatch, but I do want to bring this up because we're doing a rewatch series. There was, and I talked about it on the show a couple weeks ago, Frank Stallone posted a thing on Michael B. Jordan, that Michael B. Jordan was a poser, this sham that they're doing this next movie, and that he essentially kicked Sly out of the new movie.
Wow.
Now, you can say what you want because Frank Stallone said it. However, Sylvester Stallone liked the post.
Oh, wow.
So
he's endorsing that statement.
It's amazing that it hasn't been covered more. Only reason it was on my radar is because I was doing a Q&A and a fan let me know about it, and then I kind of dug a little deeper and did the research on it and looked. But so that's an interesting conversation we're going to have down the line. So
and more as the story develops.
And more as it develops. So anyway, we'll talk about that more. But as far as Toy Story goes, we wrapped up. Now we're gonna it'll end with Lightyear. Basically, we're doing our spoiler review on Monday. If you want to see, I have a full review up already for Lightyear on the channel. You can check that out. Winston and I did a out of the theater reaction when we saw it 2 weeks ago. So make sure you check that out. Also,
wow, it's been 2 weeks already.
Yeah, and then all that stuff. So and in Lightyear, it's going to be a full-on spoiler discussion with the 3 of us. So. Thank you for checking us out on the rewatch. Rewatch next week, I believe Thor begins, yes?
Yes.
No, so we're starting Thor. We're going to watch all 3 Thor movies leading into Ragnarok. We're all going to be going to see that movie very soon.
I am taking a wild guess. You you might be able to get away with not doing the first two Avengers. Are we going to do either Infinity War, Endgame, since he has such a deep storyline in that with the whole? No, okay. I'm just shaking.
It's not. I love those movies, but I'm not doing.
Fat Thor. That's a whole thing.
That's true.
I mean, we could talk about it maybe inside of Ragnarok. Okay. You know, at the end of Ragnarok, we can talk the same way we did for the other ones. I don't want to do a full rewatch on it. We can just watch those scenes the same way we did for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So that's it. All right, that's Toy Story. And that was a fun ride.
Yeah.
So far it's been. What we should do at the end of the year is all the rewatches we did. Rank the rewatches. What we had the most fun with.
Like
rewatches
rank the arc, like all the Toy Stories, all the Spider-Mans, all the.
No. Meaning that if you had all, so we watched all the Toy Stories, we watched all the Jurassic Parks. You know.
Yeah.
Or
what's
maybe
the overall best franchise?
What your favorite rewatches were? Like my favorite watching. My favorite rewatch. My first favorite rewatch was, and it doesn't have to be best movies. Like,
sure.
I had a lot of fun rewatching all the Batman movies, even though Batman and Robin is in there, right?
Right.
We've done a lot already.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, because it was just so many movies for Spider-Man to start off.
Right.
Well, that wasn't even the one that started it. The one that started it off, you guys weren't even in it. It was the Star Wars ones.
So for us, it was Spider-Man.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I'm gonna take this.
Dude,
phone
you
call.
got the same spam wrist call that I did.
Hold on, let me see. Should I? I want to see. Well, I'm gonna try to do a prank. Hopefully, never works out. But hello.
Hi, this is Jennifer.
Get out of here, Jennifer. You're a robot.
Damn it, Jennifer, we had hope for you.
You hope we were going to actually be somebody. All right, anyway.
We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for you.
We were rooting for you. All right, everybody. I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. Oh, hi, T-Rex.
That was Rex.
It was Rex. I appreciate you. Really appreciate you. And we're going to be able to see you really soon on this Lightyear thing. Make sure that, once again, the podcast, you do that, the Wish I Knew shirts, all of it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification button. Do everything that you can. For myself and Winston and Coy on this rewatch, please make sure you check it out. The next one that we do, we're really excited to do this series, and we're glad that you've been joining us. So leave your comments. Tell us what your movies are from the Toy Stories. Rank them. All right. We'll see you next time.